Kakadosh Boker Or, Daf Yomi Masechet Batra Daf Samech Amud Aleph 61. We're just going to start on the last line on Nuntet Bet, the last three words. Amar Rav Nachman says Rav Nachman, Velistom. If you have one of the partners in the chatzer in the courtyard that they built a wall right in front of a window, right, which was going to be less than 3 years, so for sure it's going to be a chazakah, right? That he's got the chazakah if he doesn't say anything. Meaning, I built the wall, you kept quiet. It's a chazakah. Why? Immediately you should have said, "Hey, what are you doing? You're blocking my airspace." He kept quiet. Because nobody has that they're going to take away his light and he's going to keep quiet. Then the next part of the Mishnah said that if you're going to purchase a house in another field, you're not supposed to open it up to the adjacent field. What's the reasoning? Because by you coming and opening up a new entrance, what you're doing is you're making the people that are going back and forth, it's much more difficult for them because now they have to come and they have to hide themselves. So they're making it longer for them to come and to travel. So Ema Seifa, let's see the latter part of the Mishnah. If you want, you could build it within the house, and then you build the second floor and within the house. Also, you have it the same thing. Why? Because at the end of the day, even though they're not going to come from there, still, right, at the end of the day, there's more people in the chatzer. More people in the chatzer, they have to move around. There's more people in the courtyard. So imagine you're going to continue building buildings. There's more traffic. What does it mean cheder? You divided it between two different, meaning you didn't actually come, right, without making it bigger. You're just dividing the property in two. So what do you mean now the second floor? Uptai. We're talking about that you're splitting up, right, the middle and in the height. And therefore, since you're splitting up the house into two different houses, that's why you're not actually putting more. It's not you're making more room space, right, more airspace. No, you're keeping the house the exact same size as what it was. Says the first Mishnah on the page. First Mishnah on Samech Amud Aleph. Lo yiftach adam lechatzer shotin petach keneged petach velo chalon keneged chalon. So you cannot open up an entrance, a door, opposite another door. And you can not open up a window opposite another window. Haya katan. What happens if it's small? Don't make it bigger. So if you have a small window, don't make it bigger. If you have a small door, don't make it bigger. Right? One window. Don't make two windows. You could open it up to the Reshut Rabim. Petach keneged petach, one entrance for another entrance, or a chalon keneged chalon, or one window for another window. Haya katan, you could make it bigger, or and if you had one, you could make it two, because since it's open to the Reshut Rabim, it's to the road. So anyway, you're not, when you're driving on the street, it's not that you're doing something there that's private. You're in the middle of the street. So if I want to open up an extra window there and it's going to be towards the street, so you're allowed to do that, whether it's going to be adding a window, making it bigger, or another entrance, or whatever it is. Says the Gemara, how do we know these words of our Mishnah? So Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan, the Pasuk says, he took up his eyes and he saw Yisrael shochel in shvatav. What did he see? He saw that the entrances were not opposite each other's. And therefore he said that there's going to have Shekhinah. Why? Many times if you open up the door and I open up the door, I could see straight into your house, you could see straight in my house. So even though we both open up the doors, I'm over here and you're over here, you cannot see into my house, I cannot see into your house. And therefore that's why he says that there's Shekhinah. Why? Because everything was going to keep private. If it's going to be small window, don't make it big. So he thought to say, if it's 4, don't make it 8. Because you're taking now 8 in the chatzer. But if you have a 2, right? 2 we're talking about here 4 amot. If you have 2 amot, you can make it into 4 amot. So he says, Rava comes and he says, Matzi Elmaleh katalem. He could tell, listen, with a small door, I could hide from you. But not when it's too big. If it's too big, it's too wide, I can't hide myself from you. So it's much more difficult. What about if it's 1 door or 2 doors? Yeah, so he comes and he says like this. Came and he thought to say, he says they had an entrance in the 4 amot, so they can't make it 2 ptachim. Because they went, right, and they're going to take 8, right, in the chatzer. Meaning, when you're going to come and you're going to make a two different ones, you're going to take 4 amot for every single entrance. But if you have 8, you can make 2 of them of 4. Okay, you can make basically 2 different doors. Why? Because you're not adding on to what you're taking extra because of your doors. So Amale Rava comes and he says, Matzi Amale, you could tell him the same thing. I could save myself from 1 door, but not from. When you have 1 door, okay, I know that your door is over there, so I'm protecting myself. For the sake of you have a door there, I don't know where you are, so it's much more difficult to protect myself from you. So he says, "Aval poteach l'reshut rabim keneged petach keneged petach." You could do it in the reshut rabim. The Elmaleh, he says, anyway, you have to watch yourself from everyone else in the reshut rabim. So therefore, I could open myself up to the reshut rabim, to the public domain, because anyway, you don't need the protection. Says the second Mishnah, "En osin halal tachat reshut harabim." You cannot make a halal, which is like an empty space, hollow vacuum underneath the Reshut Rabim, Borot Shechinu Meorot. For example, you can't make pits or other things under the Reshut Rabim. Rabbi Eliezer comes and he permits doing so. But it has to have such a strong cover that you could have a wagon going on with stones and it won't break within. Meaning, don't start making all these tunnels or things underneath. You cannot take out beams or big beams to the Reshut Rabim. But if you want, kones, what you have to do is kones toch shelo motzi. You have to go in your property and then you could take out. But if you already purchased a chatzer, it stays with the chazaka. Says the Gemara, according to the rabbis, sometimes it can happen that this kisui, why is it that you can't make something hollow in the Reshut Rabim? Because it could be that all of a sudden the top part will become rotten and then boom, and people fall in. So why can't you take out these beams? Ravami once had this thing coming out. It's like, pegs or whatever it is coming out of the wall. And there was somebody that he also had it out of the Reshut Rabim. So and he told him, Zil Kotz, cut it off. Elmaleh, he says, you also have it. So he says, he says, for me, it's going into the mavui. And therefore, they're mochel. Yours is going into the Reshut Rabim. Who's going to forgive? Meaning, if it's going to the public thoroughfare, nobody could forgive. It's everybody. It belongs to everybody. You can't forgive. If it's something private between certain people, they could forgive. Rabbi Yanai had an ilan. He had a tree which was facing the Reshut Rabim. He also had a person that had a tree towards the Reshut Rabim. They were stopping him. They came in front of Rabbi Yanai. Elmaleh comes and he tells him, go now and come back tomorrow. Beleli in the nighttime, he cut down his. The next day, he came and he said, Elmaleh, he said, cut it down. Elmaleh, he told him, but you yourself, you have it. Elmaleh, he says, he says, you know what? Go. If mine is not there, you have to cut yours down as well. If mine is there, then leave yours. What happened at the beginning? What happened that he had it there, he didn't, he took it off? What's going on? What, now all of a sudden he changes the halacha? He thought at the beginning that people were happy, that people are in the shade. If I have a tree there, it's shade, people are happy. Once he saw that people were stopping the other guy, he realized that really, it's not good for the Reshut Rabim. So maybe they just didn't tell him because he was a rabbi. So what did he do? So he went and he cut down his own. So he says, what did he say? Why did he say, cut yours down and then I'll cut mine down? Because of the Shakish. The Shakish says, what does that mean? Purify yourself first and then you purify other people. Fix yourself and then you fix other people. Keshot atzmecha, right? Beautify or fix yourself and then afterwards keshot acharim. Avalim ratza, right? And therefore that's what he did. So he first cut down his tree to make sure that he was fine. And afterwards he could tell the other guy, listen, take it down. I already cut it down. There's nothing left. I did it properly. Next. Avalim ratza. We said in the Mishnah that if he wants, he could go into his own property and then stick out these poles, right, from the house. So we asked the question, kanas velo lehotzi. What happens if he went in, but he didn't take out the zuzim? Can he take them out again afterwards? Meaning, do we say from the fact that he took it from he's in his house, so therefore now he could still do it, or he lost out now? So Rabbi Yochanan Amar, kanas motzi. If you took it in, you could still motzi. The Shaki said, no. Once you took it in, you can't take it out again. So Amaleh Rav Yaakov Rav Yirmiyah bar tachlifa, right? Asbir alecha leotzi. So bar tachlifa, which is Rav Yaakov, I'm going to explain to you the machloket. Leotzi kulam lo pligi de motzi. According to everybody, you could be motzi. When is the machloket? Lachzik talim, when you want to bring back the walls back to the original place. The Ibcha Yizma was the exact opposite. Rabbi Yochanan says that you cannot bring it back to the original place. And the Shagi says you could. Rabbi Yochanan says you cannot bring back the walls to the original place because of Rabbi Yehuda. Because Rabbi Yehuda says, once the public started walking in this path, so now it's a mitzvah shechziku rabim. They have the chazakah on this path. You can't do anything about it anymore. And the Shaki says, I mean one of these words, only if there's no other space. Hacha here, there's a lot of space in the Rishut Rabim. So therefore, you don't have this chazakah. 2 dots. If you bought a field or you bought a courtyard and it already had these zizin gzusarot, so you have the chazakah. Ravuna says nafla. If it falls, you can build it again. So we ask the following question: you cannot come and you cannot put lime or make all these pictures on the walls or all these colors on the walls nowadays. But if you bought it, it has a chazakah. But if it fell, you can build it again. Why is it by the other case you have a chazakah and if it falls, you can rebuild? Here it says if it falls, you can rebuild. So he says here it's an isur. What does that mean? There's a difference between a zik mamon and isur. Here there was an isur to do these things. So to do these isurim, you can't build it again, be isur. But to do with money, with damages, that you have a chazakah, you can continue doing that. So Tana Rabbanan, that's what we learned in the Braita. You're not allowed to plaster your house with lime after the Churban Bayit. But if you put sand or grain, it's going to be permitted. Rabbi Yehuda says Yirev bo chol is a tachsid, so it's even stronger. It's asur. Only teven is mutar. Only if you put grain in it, it's going to be permitted to do it. Again, this is all the different things that happen because of Churban Bayit, the destruction of the Bet HaMikdash. Tana Rabbanan, we also learned in the Braita, when the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, Rabu Purushe beYisrael. There were a lot of Prushim in Israel. Right, that they separated themselves. They're not going to eat meat, not drink wine. Rabbi Yoshua came and he also did the same thing. He told them, Banai, why are you not eating meat and drinking wine? They said, so well, we're going to come and start eating meat till the meat was brought to the Mizbeach, but now there's no Mizbeach. Or we're going to drink wine that they were using for Misucha Yain for the wine libations, and now there's no wine, there's nothing. He says, in Ken, also lechem nonchal. Don't eat bread. Why? But there's no menachot. There's no flour offerings. If Shabbat perot, just eat fruits, right? And then he says perot lama also don't eat fruits. Why? Because of the bikurim. So you could eat other types of fruits. Mayim, don't drink water. Why? Batel isuch mayim. What about right? Shatku. They kept quiet. They didn't have an answer. But he's correct. So what? Not don't do nothing. But he told them, Banai. I'm going to tell you guys. You can't just say you're not going to do avilut. You have to do avilut. It's a Bet HaMikdash, right? There was a churban. You can't do too much either. Why? You cannot make a decree on the tzibur, on the congregation. The majority cannot withstand it. You can't do that. You need that the majority are able to withstand it. It says but the other rabbi said, you're going to put lime in the entire house, but leave a little portion that does not have. Kama, how much is that? 1 amana, 48 square centimeters. That's what you need. Says opposite the entrance. Why? Because you wanted opposite the entrance of what? If there's no lime. To show you that we're doing khurban. Not the entire house. Amalama. Do the entire suda, have everything, meat, wine, everything. But you leave a little portion of the table, nothing. Why? What is that? Rav Papa says kisid dehersena. A kiarav dagim to ganim. You have like sardines type of thing, small fish, which are fried in shemen and oil and flour. She's going to make takshitim. The woman will come, and she's going to have all types of jewelry. What is that? Batsada. What is that? The sear, which means basically she comes and she puts them in order to take off the hair because of the velut. She shouldn't leave it over. She shouldn't do that. Okay, there's a whole difference. It says it could be that it's a type of a perfume, a type of this. or a certain type of a haircut, like a hair dress, right? Okay, fine. שנאמר בזה זה פסוק, אם אשכחך ירושלים תשכח ימיני, תדבק לשוני לחוקי, אם לא אשכחך ירושלים. What does that mean? Maya lo simchati. What does that mean, lo simchati? If I'm not going to put Yerushalayim lo simchati, Amar of Yitzchak zelefer mikle. That's why they put on the heads of the chatanim. Ashkenazim until today have this minhag. They put on the heads of the chatanim efer mikle. What is efer mikle? Mamash burnt ashes. They put it on his head. So Amaleh of Papa Labai says of Papa Labai hecha munach. Where do we put it? In kom tefillin. Because it says shneimah lasum lafil tzion lated lahem pe'er tachat efer. We put the tefillin in the place of the efer. So if the tefillin goes right here, so the efer goes right here, which is again where the tefillin go. Says of Yoshua, anybody that's going to be mitabel Yerushalayim, he's going to be zochet to see the simcha of Yerushalayim. Shneimar simchu et Yerushalayim. You're going to be happy. All the people. So it's actually very interesting. In one of the Divrei Torah, they say, why does it say zoche v'ro'eh? Zoche sheyir'eh. In the future, he will see it. But rather, no. The fact that he's already mitabel Yerushalayim, he's already ro'eh b'simchata. Because that's a happy Yerushalayim, that the people that they're actually, they care about it. And therefore, that's already zocher right now in the present tense. Tanya, we learned to the bright time, Elisha, really be'emet, we should have decreed, we're not going to eat meat, we're not going to drink wine. But we can't do that. The second the Romans came, and the Torah mitzvot, that they don't want us to learn Torah mitzvot. We're not even allowed to do Shavua Ben, which is the Brit Milah. Yeshua Ben, or the Yeshua Ben, which is Pidyon Ben. We shouldn't even get married and to have children. But then we're not going to have children. We can't do that. But we have to do these things. And it's better that it should be over on the Gezerah, the Shogeg, and not the Mezid. And therefore we don't make these decrees. And therefore we leave it with these decrees. Hadran alach, cheskata betim. We just finished the third chapter of Masechet Batra. Have a wonderful day.